Last cut. Whoa. This has got to be the most stressful part of the whole thing.
Yeah. Doesn't it feel like a neurological disorder?
Yeah. That's exactly what I said. How is it?
Good. It's nice.
So you want to install your van floor?
This is how to do it.
Step 1.
Buy your van.
We went with a mini van, a Toyota Previa. It's a soccer mom van. It had the seats and everything installed when we got it.
The first thing that you're gonna wanna do is gut it. Take everything out. Take the carpet out, take the plastics, take the headliner, take all of that stuff out. But make sure to keep your carpet because you're gonna wanna use that as your stencil for all the steps afterwards.
Yeah, obviously if you buy a van that's not a minivan,
Yeah.
you don't have to do all those steps, but with this conversion, and if you do have flooring in your van, take that out and keep it. When you're pulling everything out, if your van has sound deadening, you want to leave that. It's pretty obvious what it looks like after you take out the carpet and the padding. It's very much so in each rib of the van. It almost looks like an extra metal, but it's sound deadening material to break the noise from the bottom of the van.
Once everything is removed from the van, the next step is to give it a deep clean. Go through and clean everything out, get all of the little hairs or whatever else that's attached to the bottom of the metal flooring. That might reveal some rust spots, and you're gonna wanna treat that as well. Using some type of rust treatment like Rust-Oleum, spray paint will do the trick. You'll sand down the rust with some Scotch-Brite and then clean that, wipe it off, spray it, and that will treat that really well. And then there will likely be some holes also within the base of the van, so you'll need to go through and fill those with a type of caulking. We use just some window sealant caulking. And then once that's settled and dried, cover it with your aluminum foil tape and you'll be good to go.
When we were doing the filling of all of the holes, Jay was filling the actual holes and I was checking the holes that are already capped to make sure nothing was under them. Luckily, we did that because one of our holes right back here at the end had a bolt underneath it. It's where you access the spare tire. So when you're filling holes and everything, when everything's out of the van, it's a good thing to just check the holes that are already filled with a cap, just to make sure that you keep the access points that you actually need.
Because if you need access to it later down the road and it's been filled with all the different things in the flooring, you'll wish you did it in the beginning.
Yeah. The first step to installing your van floor is going to be to cover your wheel wells. So using reflectix to cover the wheel wells is, in our opinion, the best option because the wheel wells are rounded and it's the most malleable. It doesn't do the best job with insulating, however, it's better than nothing.
Now this is the step where your carpet that you tore out earlier will come in handy. You're gonna take that and trace out the polyiso and bring it into the van and make sure it fits after you've cut it out. It might take a few trial and errors, bringing it in, cut, repeat over and over, but it will work out. Then once that's cut, you're gonna repeat the process now only for your plywood. So again, trace it out, cut it, bring it into the van, see if it works, repeat.
On top of your insulation.
Right.
To make sure. Because literally you'll cut it 1,000 times and it still won't be perfect. When insulating the floor of your van, you want to make sure that you get insulation in each crack and crevice as well, or the ribs of the floor. Obviously that would be a pain in the butt to cut the polyiso sheet insulation, so instead you'll use Great Stuff spray foam. It's an expanding foam, so you don't want to fill the cracks too much with it, but do a bead down each rib, and then you'll put your actual insulation, the sheet insulation, on top of that. That spray foam will work as both a glue and filling in the insulation piece of each rib. When you're doing that, you want to make sure to not spray foam the whole van first. That would be insane. And then you won't have anywhere to go when you're pushing down the insulation sheets. So do one bit at a time. We did the back half, pressed it down, put plywood on top of it, and then moved to the next bit and did each individual section. After you have all of your sections laid with the plywood back on top, you then want to put weight on top. We use tires, cinder blocks, our batteries, anything and everything that is heavy to lay out evenly across so that your floor actually stays and the expanding foam doesn't press your polyiso sheet insulation up. That has to cure for 8 to 12 hours, so at this point you're done for the day.
Now that it's been 12 hours, remove all the weights that you had put down on top of the plywood, remove the plywood, and see if there's any cracks and crevices that you missed along the perimeter of the insulation install. So go through, spray the foam through there, along each little crack and crevice, even the places in between the two polyiso sheets, and then again, let it sit for 8 to 12 hours. You're pretty much done for then.
It seems like it's a lot of extra work and a lot of extra sitting time, not doing it before, but you want to make sure that every step of the way you're making sure your subfloor or your plywood floor fits. And if you did the cracks in the step prior, the plywood wouldn't be able to sit on
perfectly.
it.
Yeah. Then you're gonna go through and cut off all the excess after it's been set for 8 to 12 hours, and then relay down your plywood and verify that it still fits perfectly.
Again, it seems like a lot, but trust us, you want to do this.
Yeah, you don't want to have a mishap anywhere down the road.
Yeah. After you have the spray foam down, you double check that the plywood fits perfectly still, take out the plywood and do aluminum foil tape around the perimeter and any cracks, taping together your two sheet insulations, or 3 or 4, however many you end up having, to seal the two of them together.
Now bring back your plywood into your van. Make sure it still fits properly. It should. The next step is adding your flooring, whether you chose vinyl, the linoleum, tongue and groove, whatever you chose.
We got flooring given to us. It was in a big roll, and so what we did was rolled it out in the van and then made sure it was like somewhat fitted as best as it could be, and then Jay went around with an X-Acto knife.
We made sure to, both of us were sitting on it after we knew exactly where we wanted it, because we didn't want it to shift any side to side, front to back, whatever. We wanted it to be exactly where it was for when I went through and went around every corner and turn and edge and made sure that it was cut perfectly around.
Yeah, I recommend starting at the wheel wells because it's a really good spot to actually keep it. Kind of latches the flooring in place. It doesn't really shift as much after that. So if you did both wheel wells first, or even just one wheel well first and then moved around, while someone else is in the van or weight is in the van holding the linoleum in the right spot. Once you have your trace outline of your linoleum, you get to roll it up, take that out, take out the plywood, and then sheet by sheet you want to spray the aluminum top of your insulation and the back side of each piece of plywood.
With the 3M 90 is recommended. We weren't able to get 3M 90. We got the 3M 77, and it seems like it's actually held up decently well, but if you can't get 90, get 90.
Go to 90. After all your plywood is sprayed and stuck in spot, you want to roll out your new flooring or your vinyl or linoleum flooring out to lay it in the right spot again. And then Jay's suggestion worked out really well. We laid it out, tacoed it or rolled it up, and then
long ways.
Yeah, long ways, hotdog style. And then sprayed the subfloor with the spray adhesive and sprayed the back side of the linoleum flooring. And then both of us were in here and we rolled it out, making sure that any air bubbles were pressed out as we were rolling it to fit.
And then we just repeated that on the other side. And then we brought in some old blankets, and then again brought back our cinder blocks, the tires, the batteries,
all the extra weight.
All the weight, and let it sit for a couple hours. There's no recommendation on how long it takes for the 3M adhesive spray to work, but we gave it a couple hours and it seemed like that was plenty.
Yeah. Then you're finally at the point where you get to take everything out after it sits for a few hours. You take out all the extra weight and take out your blankets that you used so your newly installed floor didn't get damaged, and then just lay on it.
Just enjoy it. Enjoy the hard work, the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Please give us a thumbs up. It helps the channel out significantly. And go ahead and subscribe if you found this video helpful and if you're looking forward to more videos like this in the future. So we'll talk to you later.